Alright, we can get today's started then. So, welcome to the first discussion for Intro to Android. Of course, as Corin said, we will be going over sort of a demo today. But before we get into that, we'll just go over a quick review of what we learned last time. It's not too much, so it'll be pretty quick. But yeah, we'll just be going over a quick demo for what you guys learned. I'm assuming everybody got the attendance form? Okay, awesome. I know that there was one person last time I said I would give the attendance form to last time, and then I didn't pull it up. Is that person here right now? Okay, I'll contact them at another point. But if we all got the attendance form, we can get going. So of course, Kotlin will be the language that we're using with Android Studio, since it's most likely a lot of your time or a lot of viewers' first time interacting with Kotlin. If you guys have any difficulties with it during the demo, anything with syntax, you can either just of course, ask us or search it up on the internet. Just make sure not to copy any code, right? Plagiarism. So we'll be going over how to use the editor, how to make a new project, and how to make a very, very basic app, just adding some things into the layout. It's not sure why. Yeah, just adding some basic things to the layout. And so with that, we will have our demo for today. We'll also go over debugging. So again, for debugging, you will want to use these 4 functions: log.diw or e, most likely d if you're debugging, and of course you'll use your tag in order to find what that debugging message is, and then the message itself. Be going over activities, and so again, every single app or every single project that you make in Android will have a main activity by default, which is your main screen, and every activity is a screen, and that's sort of like the biggest I guess, form of organization in the Android apps. So layouts, we will also be going over how to sort of make them with the layout editor in Android Studio. They are defined in XML, which, if you could remember, is the sort of hierarchical, is a sort of hierarchical tree with a very interesting syntax. And so the layout editor will help you make it without any sort of difficulty there. Of course, if you want to connect the layout, the XML, and Kotlin, you want to use this find view by ID in order to pull the views and whatnot from your XML, from the layout files, and actually interact with them with logic in Kotlin. The layout editor. Views comprise your layouts. They're the stuff you put in there that will actually show your user's information. So those include edit text, buttons, text views, and image views, all of which you will be putting into a layout today in the demo. And so without further ado, let's get into the demo, and I'll let Corwin take it away from here.
Yeah, so before we actually get started with the demo, so this is what we'll be creating today. It's very simple. Before we get into it, I just want to talk about constraint layouts. So hold up. So the basic way constraint layout works is it's like drag and drop. So imagine this is your screen, right? And then I'll have a button right here. What you need to do for, let's say, this button is there are 4 places that you need to constrain it to. There's here, 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 and here. Okay. If you don't constrain it to anywhere, it just sticks in the top right corner. So what you want to do is you take this point and constrain it to the top part, constrain this to the bottom part, constrain this to the edges of the screen. So what this will do is it will take the mean distance between all the constraints, right? If you don't add anything else, when I just constrain this top here, this button will now sit in the center of the screen. So imagine this. This is getting constrained to, what's it called? The edges of the screen. So now imagine if I add another button. I want it to be underneath this button, right? But in the center between this button and this bottom of the screen, what I do is now I constrain this top half to this button, this bottom half to the bottom of the screen, right? And this will constrain it to the center between this button and this bottom of the screen. That is the basics for constraint layout. I'll do some demoing of that when we actually get into Android Studio.
All right, so layouts are actually for next week, but we will need layouts in order to make any sort of app, and so we'll just be going quickly over constraint layouts today in our demo. Yeah, so switch my screen.
Go to Studio.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I could just pull it up on there. Okay, well.
The screen.
Yeah, this is the. Okay,
All
does
right.
everybody have Android Studio pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay, so you might not actually see the screen right away. What you might see is a sort of actual IDE. And so if you do see that, what you're going to want to do is go to File, New, and then New Project instead.
So when we have created a new project, what you want to do, or what we want to do, is just to make a very, just select empty activity here. So where is it? You can name it whatever you want. I'll just call it demo 1. Demo 1. And then you have to wait for it to build. It takes a little bit for it to build. If I'm going too fast, you can always tell me to slow down and or have me repeat anything. Yeah. When you're on the screen, if you do want to make a new file or a new project, you just click File, New, and you have a new project right there. Just click on it, does the same thing. Yep. Now that it's finished building, there are two main components that is very different from anything that you guys have done when it comes to regular coding, and that is XMLs. So here, there is this code, and this deals with sort of the logic of your app. So let's just say I'll hit here will be like when I press a button, it does some action, right? So you can think of it, as I said, as logic, right? In the XML, this is sort of the visuals. Here is how you will display everything on your screen, right? And so one XML represents one screen. So let's just say you're on Instagram. When you click in between tabs, you'll be actually going in between XML files, right? If you can think about it like that. So you have to think about it as each XML represents a single screen. It could represent a small component of a screen, right? But overall, for now, just think about it as representing one screen. So where is the photo I have? So we're just a reminder, this is what we're trying to create. So how do we want to do this? Just a little heads up, I'll give you a slight demo on how to just create one image or one button. I'll put it up there, and then it's up to you guys to build the rest. All right, I'm just giving you a little demo. We'll give you like 20 minutes to actually work on it, and then Justin and I will be walking around. If you have any questions, we'll be there to answer it. So the very nice thing about XML is it's very, very user-friendly and you don't have to do any code. There is code associated with it. So if you see there's this split thing, this is the code associated with it. Until you get more advanced, you don't really have to deal with any of it. It's more of a drag and drop. So for now, and for this lecture alone, we'll be mostly dealing with the design portion of it. So you don't really need this for now. Now, so let's just say I want to put a button on the screen. All I have to do is drag a button onto the screen. So we'll delete this for now. With a button on the screen, as I said, we will be setting the constraints now. So I drag the constraint to the top, drag the constraint to the bottom, drag this constraint to the right, and left, drag this constraint to the. So now that I've constrained all 4 edges, what ends up happening is the button is now in the center of the screen, right? Now it's your job to recreate this. Another small thing I forgot to add is that there are a lot of other things that you can do on this screen. So there's this attribute tab on the right. It's not here because it's literally pulled up. That you can do. So say, for example, I don't want this to be exactly in the center. What can I do? Well, you see these sliders on the left and the bottom here. I can drag the slider and it moves it up, or it like puts a vertical, it's called a vertical biasy, And so it biases like, oh, what percentage do I want it on the vertical scale? And then for this, it's basically what percentage do I want it on the horizontal scale? With this knowledge in hand, you should be able to build everything. You should be able to build this, right? So get to it, guys. Oops. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, just a quick reminder: the four views that you see here are image view on the top, then text view, edit text, which is sort of the text entry, and button is well, a button. In the end, we want you to have this edit text actually be able to edit this text, and so you would edit text into here, you click the button, and then the text here changes. Now, don't worry too much about getting that right now. All we want you to do right now is just build this in the layout editor. We'll add on the logic afterwards. So yeah, get to it, and if you have any questions, let us know.
I'm still downloading
Oh,
in the studio.
I'm like downloading Gradle.
Yeah, this thing takes a long time to start up.
I should have started that before.
Yeah, that's what I told you while we were
My bad.
up there. Should have had it up. Also, it takes a long time to what's it called? A benefit is if you're done, if you guys are done, I'll come over, plug in my phone into your laptop, and then you can run it on my phone, which is a lot faster. Yeah, I mean we have a few Android phones for that. Not the recording until I actually start demoing.
I guess. Edit text in the palette. Okay, let's take. So
It's not actually there.
yeah, there are like different little like I guess categories here.
Code. It's not in there. I don't think it's in these categories.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just isn't
No,
it?
no.
It is pretty
You
much
just
just these.
okay. The way you do it is
It definitely is.
So let's just say I have plain text. So this is one of the things where the design's not actually that great because it doesn't have it. What you want to do, drag this on here. So basically, this is like a plain text. All you do is go into the code.
Yeah, it is edit text.
Oh, it is edit text.
Yeah, so it's called plain text in the palette, even though it's called edit text in the actual XML, and that's what we usually refer to it as. So yeah, plain text
Interesting.
in the palette. Not sure why they call it that.
There's also text input at the bottom. Scroll down on the text.
I've never heard of that before.
They're all the same.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the differences between these are. I guess they're just slightly.
What is this?
What does
It
this
is
thing?
a text
Text
input
input layout.
field.
Yeah, that is not the same as an edit text. So stick with the plain text, I guess. What's up?
Oh, so that's an image. You can put any image you. Oh, sorry, I'll put it back up. You can put any image you want in it on there. I just have this green because there's nothing else you could choose, or I didn't have any other choices that looked nice.
Typically not until the next lecture.
fine with this. There's a few other people. After that, you read it. Right. XML. That's just weird.
No.
Crashing.
Oh, you want me to use PC?
USB. Hey, kill him.
If I like click run, is it gonna like?
So, quick run, it'll bring up the emulator. The emulator is like super slow. So it's easier to just test it on my phone. Because you're gonna have to test it anyway. But, it takes like 5 minutes to do it out, depending on how good.
It's alright, but
Yes. We're gonna go over that. So you see how there's text colors, right? So the way we want you to change text colors is see there's this resource file, values, these colors. And that this brings the way it works is we name for the color and then the value. So it's kind of like a variable. So once you if you let's say you change this color here, if you use this variable name like anywhere else, it'll change it for the color for all the other instances. So for this, I use purple 200. Yeah. So you can all the colors are RGB. No. You want to use the if you do @color / purple underscore. So you go to the XML file. The yeah, actually.
Oops. String. Oh. String. Hello equals. My bad. String name equals hello world. And then we'll call this hello. Why is it? Get rid of the space. Oop. Oh, whoops. Hello world. So basically, what this does is set it up. Is the name of the variable is hello world, and the actual text is hello. So if I go back into my main activity, what I can do is I can say at strings / hello world, and that should work.
and this will bring the string from this the hello world string from the string XML, and then bring it into the actual main activity XML. All right. Now finally, we'll do some activity in the what's it called? In the main activity Kotlin file. So just a reminder, this is the file that you use for the logic. Now this goes slightly beyond what we have lectured about before, but I think it's relatively simple to understand. So we'll be going over that right now. What I want to do is I want to make it so that I type in some text in the edit text, and then when I press the button, it changes the text of the original text, right? It's basically your homework. So we're giving so how do we do this? Well, first we need to actually gain access to the edit text. So the way I do that is I do var edit text. Is it edit text? Shoot. Find view by ID. r.id.edit. Is this what it is?
That's that one, actually. Yeah.
Oh, why is it named like this?
Yeah, no, it is that. For some reason, our ID is edit text to text person name too.
Edit text.
We will change that.
Yeah. Oh, another little thing that you should know about is that when I make an XML, like let's just say I made this edit text, right? It has an ID, and so basically this is the ID that you use to refer to it in the actual logic. So for this edit text, I just named it edit text, right? You can see here as a plus sign. That means I'm making a new ID, right? What's it called? Android Studio does this for you, so you don't have to worry about it. Now I can actually go back and edit text. Nice. And you're gonna have to import some stuff. Import. Why is this? Never used. All right. So we will have to do the same thing for the button. Huh? Hey, can you code it? My mom's calling me.
Okay, Corin has to step out for personal matters. I will step in then. So let's get a reference to our button. And so in order to do that, we're going to use find view by ID with the button. Import the button. And so let's take a look at what our button's ID is. It's pretty easy to see it in the bug here in the XML. And so the ID for the button is just button. And so if we go here, we can say r.id.button. And that field will be automatically created for you. And so now we have a reference to our button, so we could use it in whatever context. Of course, we also want to have a reference to our text view as well. So let's make one reference to that and grab it with the same find view by ID. r.id dot, and I'm assuming it's text view or text view. And so now we have fields for our button, edit text, and text view, which is pretty much all we need in order to make the functionality we wanted before. And so the main sort of, I guess, extension that we're doing in this demo is click listeners, which we will get to next week. But we'll just give you a sneak peek right now. So in order to sort of wait for and listen for a user input with a button, you need to add an on-click listener to your button. And so you can see Android Studio is already suggesting it for me. If I just hit enter with the set on-click listener, it should, well, it didn't do very much, but we can make an on-click listener. And what this will do is it'll take in a sort of function and then execute that every single time that the button is pressed. So you could write it like this with just like the brackets, and that the brackets sort of delineate like a function. And so you're going to now input a function into these brackets, and then the button will execute that every time you click it. A sort of better way you could write it is just without the parentheses. Kotlin will know that you're trying to give the function as a parameter, just like that. And so that's a little cleaner. And so now we can type into our function here by these brackets our actual logic. What do we want to do every time that the button is pressed? And so we want to get the text from the edit text and then put that into the text view, right? And so let me just make a quick little variable here for current text for the edit text. So edit text dot text. So I'll give our current text. I believe this should be a string. So edit text dot text is actually, if you roll over it, not quite a string. I forgot what it is exactly. But in order to fix that, you can just say .toString. It's some sort of text class in Kotlin for Android Studio. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But in order to get the actual string, you can just do .toString. And we want to sort of give that to the text view, right? And so we can say text view dot set text with the current text from the edit text. Android Studio is suggesting I do something. Whenever you see these little squiggly lines, it means you do something. Clean up code. Oh, apparently you can just use .text equals current text. I didn't even know that. But essentially what this will do, every time the button is clicked, it'll execute this function, which takes the current text in the edit text and puts it into the text view. And so if I run my emulator here, it'll take a second to pop it all up. Also, Android Studio is suggesting I change these two values because I'm not actually changing the reference of edit text button or text view. It's a good idea. Thank you, Android Studio. Give it a second. If I also wanted to say debug it and say, oh, is it actually pulling the right information? I could say log.debug with, say, my tag being debug edit text. That was my tag, and then the actual message, the actual information I want to get out of my debug message would be current text. So I would be able to sort of debug what that edit text or what the current text value is giving me. Every time I press the button, that should print to the debug. And a lot of stuff is happening. Let's see, is it actually open? Let's run it again. Should open in just a second here. Okay, so now here's our app. And so, and it crashed. Interesting. Okay, there we go. Okay, I reloaded it before. That strings out. Oh, that's definitely not correct. But anyways, so now if I were to type into this edit text, just say the actual correct hello world, and click the button, see the text view actually populates with hello world. And say it wasn't working for some reason, then I could go into my logcat here. I could select the debug since I used the D function, and I could search up the tag debug edit text. And you can see that actually prints hello world. And so if my edit text was, say, doing something unintended, I could see here exactly what it's printing and maybe make an inference off of that to help me debug my code. But yeah, any questions on anything I just did? Don't worry too much about the on-click listeners. Again, we'll get to that in next week, actually. But for now, we just showed it to you in order to make it so you can actually build something you can interact with. Because just looking at baked text on a screen is not nearly as interesting. But well, if there's no questions, that's all for today. So thank you all for coming again at this time of night. But feel free to hang around and ask us any questions. But yeah. Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah. The actual tag for the string. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, each of them are string numbers. I probably just haven't been.
Yeah, so it's bound. There's two different things. Bound is var. Val is a value. It doesn't change. Var is a variable. Sorry. Here it says val edit text. That's the name.
Yeah.
And then edit text. The other edit text is the type it is. It's it's like when you do string, like the string is the
Well, because it's not auto importing. One second.
It's basically how you access the
Okay, so the inputs or the imports you want are these four. Seems like.
So if you look in the XML file, you'll have the ID. This how you access it. Are the ID. So okay, think about you see the overrun fun on-create stuff. That's like your public static void main stuff. You don't need to know what it is. It's just like you always do. Right? Not to whatever. I want you to see it. There you go. These basically, if you click on them, because we don't want to import like every line. You saw how like there's a drop down list of like buttons and text or like 17 different text. We don't want all those to be imported at once. You only import it as you use it.
Let me search this up for you, because there's a way you're supposed to be able to pop it out. Yes, they should be started.
I'm restarting.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. Not that one. Extend this. About Studio. Studio. Of course. Have a good night, guys. Tools emulator. Okay, you can. I found out how to change a setting here. So, if you go to File, I'm not sure if this will actually fix the error, but if you go to File and then Settings, go to Tools, the little drop down here, and then Emulator. Launch any tool window that should be checked for you right now. Uncheck it, and then hit Apply, and OK or whatever. Yeah, launch in a tool window. This should be checked for you right now, and you want to uncheck it and hit Apply or OK. And then it should pop up in a separate window. Now, I'm not sure if that most likely won't fix the APK error. That's a little bit more severe. Not sure exactly what's happening. I'll take a look at the error. Oh, yeah. And it should pop up again. Yeah, it should pop up. Should open up in this.
Recognizes the other two.
At least maximum. Yeah, I'm not sure why the emulator still isn't popping out, but it probably just needs like an Android Studio restart or something. Yeah, awesome.
supposed to click build then run, or can I just click run?
Oh yeah, you just click run. Run automatically builds. So it's like
I'm building now.
yeah, it's the
I guess
first
I'll
build
just.
takes a while. Oh, if you build it and then run it afterwards, it should not ever. Yeah, so you just let it build it. Keep running. And that is the correct ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just try to rebuild it. Yeah. So, oh, I just. I just didn't build that. Actually, okay.
I'm very serious with buggies now.
Yeah, sometimes it gets pretty buggy.
What it is, there's a thing where you just go to file and just like invalidate all the caches and restart Android Studio.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's great.
Welcome. All right. We're chilling. Success.